Welcome to the UEC lecture series. This is the EPG Pathashala lecture series on computer science, and we are talking about the paper machine learning, and this is a module on genetic algorithms. Remember, this is the second module on genetic algorithms. In the previous module we had discussed the basis and some of the terminologies used in genetic algorithms. In this module we are going into the more details about genetic algorithms, including how it is represented, how the operators are used and so on. So, this is the team responsible for the creation and development of this module. Now, let us look at the learning objectives of this module. It includes to explore the operation of genetic algorithms like crossover, mutation and selection, to understand the fitness function and the termination condition, and to understand genetic programming. The keywords associated with this module are genetic algorithms, crossover, mutation, selection and genetic programming. So, first we look at representation. Okay. So, representation is an important aspect of genetic algorithms. There are different types of representations. We are first going to look at a particular representation called binary encoding. This is the most widely used representation, and it is calculating the value by decoding a binary string. That is how this is done. And the way to encode or decode a chromosome, please remember, affects the precision and accuracy very seriously. So, this representation is an important aspect of genetic algorithms. An example of a chromosome that has been represented using binary encoding is this particular chromosome. So, the chromosome has different components and each component is a binary bit. The next is representation using many characters and real valued encoding. This is another encoding technique just like binary, and it is the most natural to use an alphabet of many characters or real numbers to form chromosomes. This is the natural way of doing it. And so, for example, this is real numbers, you have 32.15, 25, 67 and so on, which represents a chromosome. Now, another encoding is the tree encoding, and this is more commonly used along with genetic programming. We will go into what is genetic programming later on, but here we are talking about the representation. So, first we spoke about binary encoding, then we spoke about multi-valued or numeric real valued encoding, then here we are talking about tree encoding. So, allowing the search space to be open ended, that is genetic programming, and tree can grow in lot of uncontrolled ways and preventing the formation of more structured hierarchical candidate solution. So, for example, this is a tree encoding that can happen. It is not a linear structure basically. So, the other two were all linear structures, this is not a linear structure, this is a tree encoding, just to tell you that it is an encoding technique. So, then another type of encoding is permutation encoding. Permutation encoding is used in scheduling and ordering problems like taboo search. This is an example where they use this permutation encoding. So, every chromosome is a string of numbers which represents numbers in a sequence. Okay. And the kind of encoding usually needs to make some corrections after the crossover and mutation operating procedures are over, because any transformation can create an illegal situation. So, the sequence of string of numbers is fixed or is decided, and it is the string that you cannot violate the string conditions. So, previously we had each one individual, here it is a strings, that is why it is called permutation encoding. For example, this is a permutation encoding, it is actually having numbers, but the string is decided. Then you have the next genetic operator, which is reproduction or selection. So, roulette wheel selection is the most common method that is used for selection. Now, how do I select the parents? Okay. So, each individual is assigned a slice of a circular roulette wheel, the area of the slice being proportional to the individual's fitness. So, how much of area of the slice is being given is dependent upon the individual's fitness. So, when wheel is spun n times, where n is the number of individuals in the population. So, you start with the population. Remember, what is our job here? We want to select a number of individuals from the population. So, wheel is spun n times, where n is the number of individuals in the population. On each spin, the individual under the wheel's marker is selected to be in the pool of parents for the next loop. So, we are trying to select the parents for the next loop. This selection capability depends upon the variance of the fitness in the population. If you have enough variance only, it will work out well. So, population converges, variance in the fitness is low, the difference between the fitness of the individuals is small. So, if the population is converging, that means the variance becomes small, that is the difference in fitness becomes small. So, what we are doing here is in the roulette wheel selection, we are just taking the roulette wheel and just rotating it, and it is spun n times, where n is the number of individuals, and on each spin whichever individual comes under the wheel, that is taken. Okay. And the area of the wheel that goes to each individual depends upon its fitness. We will see that in the next example, and the with an example, the probability of different individuals being selected is similar. It is difficult to select a better individual from individuals with smaller fitness value. So, that is not possible. So, depends on the fitness value only. So, let us take the example. So, this is called sigma scaling. We will come to the example also, but we will take an example and start and do the whole process, but we will just talk about another selection method which is called sigma scaling. This method keeps the selection pressure relatively constant. Okay. So, as individual's expected value is a function of its fitness, the population mean and the population standard deviation is considered, and depending upon that a function of its fitness is considered, and depending on that it is selected. So, expected value will be like this, it will be 1 plus the fitness of the previous to fitness of the this plus the delta value if delta is not equal to 0. So, this is the way it is done for sigma scaling. Then you have something called rank selection. Please note, all the selection is for deciding which of the individuals in the population to select as parents. So, individuals in the populations are ranked according to the fitness, and expected value of each individual depend upon its rank rather than on its absolute fitness. So, instead of giving a previously both the methods we use the fitness value directly, here we are looking at the rank among the existing individuals, and depending upon that the expected value is calculated. So, roulette wheel selection operator is introduced to select the fitter individual. So, here instead of using fitness value for in the roulette wheel, we are using the rank to give a slice of the fitness the wheel. So, better selection when while population converges. Worst distinguishability for individuals with higher differences in fitness. Convergence might be slow and search might be direct to the wrong direction, that is also possible in this case. So, let us take an example of a population, and then you have selected this for k is equal to 3, and depending upon that the champion is selected. Okay, the contestants are first selected and then the champion is selected. This is called tournament selection. So, what you do is individuals are chosen at random from the populations, okay, and then a random number r is then chosen between 0 and 1. If r is less than k, where k is a parameter, example 0.7% or 0.75% or something, and the fitter of the two individuals is selected as parent. So, what you do is individuals are chosen at random from the population, and a random number, that is some percentage 0.75 that is chosen, and the fitter of those two individuals, how many you choose depends on r, and out of that you choose the best one. So, much faster and better performance than roulette wheel selection. So, again there is something called elitism. This is forces the GA to retain the same number of the best individuals at each generation. So, here we want to maintain the same number of individuals, and such individuals can be lost if not selected for reproduction in the next stage. Elitism significantly improves the performance of the GA. Then there is a steady state selection, this is another method. Here what we do, only a few individuals are replaced in each generation, usually a small number of the individuals, and this is better because there will be some individuals that will be selected always, and the fitness will be better. So, this is a refinement of this method, is a steady state with no duplicates, in which we do not allow children that are duplicates to be considered for the selection process. So, used in evolving rule based systems, this is the method that is used. So, we have elitism, which forces GA to retain some number of best individual in each generation. So, the best individual in each generation is maintained, that is the elitism. And in steady state solution, only a few individuals are replaced at each generation. So, you have a set of individuals, you do not replace all individuals, you replace only a few individuals, that is steady state. And if the children formed are duplicates, you do not allow, that is called steady state with no duplicates. Okay. So, that is the genetic operation. So, we will go into detail about selection later with an example, but before that let us look at all the all the processes. So, first we did selection. What is selection's job? Selection job is to select the parents from the population, okay. Select individuals who will be parents from the population, and what is the basis of that selection? It is fitness. But how often an individual is selected? Some randomness has to be introduced. You cannot just select the best fittest, that you would not select. Each time you will select parents, a small number of parents are selected, right. So, how do you select those parents? You do not just take the best and select it, that is not how you do. That is only done in one method. There are different methods to do. You may think, why do not we always select the best? Then what happens is you are not introducing randomness, and only if you introduce randomness you are likely to find the solution, okay. So, that is the idea. So, crossover, you have single point crossover and multi point crossover. So, first let us look at single point crossover. The it has an endpoint effect and hitchhiker problem. We will not discuss the problem. This is a problem where, because of considering both parents exactly as it is, there is a problem. So, let us assume this is parent 1 and this is parent 2. This is just binary encoding. We have two parents. Now, we have to first define the crossover. We are only having single point crossover. So, let us assume this is a crossover here and this is the crossover here. In this example, we have taken the crossover as exactly after third bit in both cases. It is not necessary, okay. It can be here third bit, here fifth bit, that is also possible. Just for simplicity sake, we have taken that this is the crossover, and now we want to, that is a crossover point, and now we want to form the individuals. So, now how are these offsprings formed? So, from two parents, it is understood that from two parents you form two children or two offspring, okay, in the next generation. So, how do we form this? So, now the first, before the crossover point, the parent, the first offspring, what do you say, inherits the all the bits as it is from the parent, okay. But after the crossover point, it gets the next half from the second parent, or here the next half of the parent goes to the second offspring, okay. So, we are talking about how the parent is done. So, the first half of the parent goes to the first offspring, and the second half after the crossover point, here there is only two parts, goes to the second offspring. Now, in the first, here the first, in the second parent, the first half goes to the second offspring, okay, like this, and the second half goes to the first offspring, like this, okay. So, now you can see that two offsprings are formed, that is different from the parents. So, this is a crossover operator. So, what you have, why is it called crossover? You are taking one half from the first parent and taking it into the first offspring, and the second half is crossover to the second offspring. The first half of the second parent goes to the second offspring, and the second half of the first parent, second parent goes to the first, crossover to the first offspring. So, this is how the offspring is formed. Now, let us look at the next case, which is multi-point crossover. So, here we have the parents, and here we have three crossover points. Again, we are assuming the crossover points are all at the same place, not necessary. So, we have a crossover after 2 bits, we have a crossover after 4 bits, and we have a crossover after 6 bits. So, we have, it is a 3-point crossover, both cases it is the same. So, how does this happen? Now, we have the two offsprings. So, what happens is, so the first part of the offspring comes from the first part of the first offspring comes from the first parent, okay. Then the second part of the first first offspring comes from the second parent, okay. The third part of the first offspring comes from the first parent itself, and the fourth part of the first offspring comes from the second parent, okay. So, again repeating here, for the second offspring, the first part comes from the second parent, the second half comes from the first parent, the third half comes from the second parent itself, and the fourth half comes from the first parent. So, what happens is, we are combining the genes of the two parents to get the offspring, and we are only taking two parents and we are creating only two children. So, this is how it works. This is a multi-point crossover that we have seen. This is a 3-point crossover. Okay. So, that is the crossover operator. It is a parameterized uniform crossover as another type, which exchanges. The first one we saw was a point wise crossover, but we saw two types, single point crossover and multiple point crossover. Here it exchanges the bits of the two parents at each position of the chromosome with a probability p. So, 0.5, 0.8, not every time it is exchanged. No position binds, no endpoint effect. So, affecting schema theorem. So, there is no problem here. Some of the disadvantages of point crossover is handled by this parameterized over uniform crossover. Now, what are the problems with crossover? Depending on coding, simple crossovers high chance to produce illegal offspring, that is a problem. And example in this is depending upon the application. For example, in traveling salesman's problem or the so called TSP problem, with simple binary or path encoding, most offspring will be illegal, because not all cities will be in the offspring, and some cities will there will be more than one, you will visit more than once. In traveling salesman you do not do that. Uniform crossover can often be modified to avoid the problem. Example in traveling salesman problem with simple path encoding, where you mask a 1 and copy cities from one parent, and where mask is 0, you do not, you choose the remaining cities in to be from the other parent. So, this way masking you can do, and you can modify the uniform crossover to avoid the problem of going to illegal offspring. So, mathematical function is expressed as fitness, which is what is a success in life also, in nature also. So, that is about, we have finished selection and we have finished crossover. Next comes mutation. So, mutation is repeat for each bit, generate a random number r between 0 and 1. If r is less than the mutation rate, then flip the bit. For real number representation, randomly create a number for the mutation bit, and for tree, how do you select? Otherwise you flip, if it is 1 make it 0, 0 make it 1. In real number representation, just randomly create a mutated bit. For tree, the tree mutation, randomly create a branch replacing the current branch. So, that is the different methods in which mutation is done. Okay. Point mutation, change the bit value by random number or random factor. So, basically what you are trying to do is, already there will be a bit there from the parent, instead of taking that as it is, you just change it, mutate it. That is, you are introducing an error purposely. In binary, 0 becomes 1 or 1 becomes 0, real number randomly generate, tree again randomly generate. Okay. So, next comes the fitness function. The fitness function defines the actual criterion for which you want the problem. So, for ranking potential hypothesis, for probability by selecting them for inclusion in the next generation. If the task is to learn classification, then the fitness function will be typically a component that sum of the classification accuracy of the rule over a set of the samples is provided. So, you have to have a classification accuracy to decide the fitness. It could also be the complexity of the rule that you are, and generality of the rule. When the bit string hypothesis is interpreted as a complex procedure, but bit string operation represents a collection of the if then rules, then the fitness function will be in a different way. So, the fitness function measures the overall performance rather than the performance of the individual rules, that is another important criteria. So, basically it is a rule that you are using. And how do you end the iteration? That is the next question. When does the iteration stop? You keep on generating. So, when does it stop? Answer is, we do not know ahead of the design of simulation, we do not know the answer, but there are 3 criterion that you can decide. One is the population converges, the phenotypes of all individuals are the same. Okay. Evolutionary stability, the phenotype of all individuals does not change even though there are several rounds, either all are same or it does not change, or you decide on the generation number, I cannot give more resources. So, this is the thing. So, but remember, the more the generation is better it is. So, that is the idea. Okay. Now, optimum achievement, have we got the fitness optimum while when the iteration is stopping? Again we do not know the answer, even if the simulation is has been completed, we do not know for an unknown result problems, we do not know the answer. So, how to guarantee the fitness achievement? Again, different initialization design you can try, different parameter settings you can try, and you can try different experiments and compare the results, and more generations at each experiment you can try. So, different methods you try and try to find which is the best fitness that you get. Now, let us take an example. This example is the so called max 1 problem. So, suppose we want to maximize the number of ones in a string of binary digits. Is this a trivial problem? It may seem so, but actually it is not a trivial problem. If we know the answer in advance, we know the it's a trivial problem, but if you do not know, then it is not a trivial problem. So, what we are given? We are given a string. Our aim is to increase the maximum number of ones. We want to get that. So, it can represent maximize the number of correct answers, each encoded by a 1 in an yes or no difficult question. So, I have a string encoding the yes and no questions, and I want to get the correct answers. So, that could be it. So, that is the problem we are going to try to solve. Given a string of zeros and ones, we want to maximize the number of ones. Okay. Please remember, this is not a trivial problem if you map it to some other real world problem where you have answers and so on, answers to yes no questions, difficult questions maybe. So, an individual is encoded naturally as a string of binary digits in this case, the L binary digits, and the fitness f of a candidate solution is the number of ones in the genetic code. So, that is how we are defining the fitness function. So, we are first defining an individual as a string of L binary digits, and the fitness f of a candidate is the number of ones in that particular genetic code. And we start with the population of R random strings. Suppose that L is equal to 30, I am sorry, L is equal to 10, that is the number of binary digits, and N is equal to 6. Yep, starting with the population of 6. 6 is very few, but just to illustrate the example, and the 6 is generated randomly. So, we are just starting with 6 random strings. So, let us take the initialization. We toss a fair coin 6 times and get the following initial population. So, the initial population S1 is equal as given there, and you find that the fitness function of S1 to start with is 7, and the next is 5, and the next is 7, and so on. So, we have N is 6, the number of individuals in the population is 6, and the fitness the binary digits is given there. It is actually randomly generated, and the fitness function is, as you remember, is the maximum number, the number of ones in the population. So, here we have the number of ones, and this is the fitness function. The total fitness value for the initial population is 34. Now, we want to maximize this. Okay. Now, the first step is selection. So, we have initialized the problem. The first step is selection. So, here we apply fitness proportionate selection with the roulette wheel method. So, fitness proportion, we know the fitness. So, here you have the roulette wheel, and this will be which has to be selected, it will be 6 in our case, and the proportion that occupies the division is dependent on the fitness. So, actually if you see the previous one, S5 will have the maximum proportion of the roulette wheel, the next will be S1 and S3, and the 6 will have the least proportion. Okay. So, that is what we are trying to say here, and so the angle that proportional to the fitness value. So, individual I will have a probability to be chosen as fitness of I divided the summation of the fitness. So, 8 divided by 34 for example, or 3 divided by 34, 34 is the summation. So, we repeat the extraction as many times as the number of individuals we need to have in the. So, let us assume that in our case we want the same 6 as the next generation. So, that means we have to choose the parents accordingly. We have to choose 2, 2, 2, 2 6 times. So, the idea is we have to choose 2 parents and 6 times, any 2 parent individuals 6 times. So, we have to choose the parent appropriately. Okay. So, suppose that after performing the selection, we have selected the individuals according to the roulette wheel, and we get the following population. So, S1 dash is the after the selection we get these are the selected people. Okay. Now, the next is crossover. So, next we made strings for crossover. So, we have selected 6 parents. So, we have selected 6 parents by roulette wheel, and we have not shown how this is done. We are assuming that these are the 6 selected. So, we call it as S1 dash, S2 dash, S3 dash, S4 dash, S5 dash and S6 dash. Those are the selected ones. Now, we have to do the crossover operation. We made strings for crossover. For each couple we decide according to the crossover probability. For instance, suppose the crossover probability is 0.8, whether to actually perform crossover or not. Let us assume that we decide to actually perform crossover only for couples, 2 couples here, okay, S1 dash, S2 dash, and we do it for S3, S5 dash and S3, x3 dash. So, for each couple we randomly extract a crossover point. For instance, let us assume it is 2 for the first and 5 for the second. Okay, that is the first parent will have a crossover point of 2, the second parent will have a crossover point of 5. So, before crossover these were the 2 parents and these are the next 2 parents. I am sorry, S1 and S1 dash and S2 dash are the 2 parents and S5 dash and S6 dash are the 2 parents. So, after crossover what will happen? We have, remember, 2 point and 5 point. So, the first one we used 2 point, the second one we are using 5 point. So, here we have the 2 offsprings that are produced. So, 1 1 comes at as it is and this is put here, and the second one you have 1 1 and the first one is put here. So, that is the 2 offspring with 0.2, and the next one we are assuming 5. So, this comes as it is and the second parent's child will come to the first offspring, I mean the part will come to the first offspring, and this comes as it is and this first parents will come here. So, we have already explained the crossover operation points. So, this is the 4 new individuals that come, offspring that come after the crossover operator. So, now to the final step you have to do a random mutation for each bit that we are to copy to the new population. So, we allow a small probability of error. So, for example, 0.1. So, before applying and after applying and the new fitness value we will see. So, these are the 6, the second generation 6 population, initial population, not initial population, the population after that. So, after crossover, then after crossover I have marked as blue the points where I want to do mutation. Here mutation we are doing simply, we are just flipping it. So, if you can see here, sorry, you can see here it has been flipped accordingly, okay. 1 has become 0 and so on, okay. And the new fitness value has been calculated from this. So, now we have finished after mutation, we have got the new fitness value. Now, you will see that in one generation the total population fitness changed from 34 to 37, which is improved by 9%. At this point we go through the same process all over again until a stopping criterion is met. So, what we have done here is we have started with, remember the steps, we first had an initial population of, in our case 6, and the individual is represented by 10 bits. We started with those 6 and we found the fitness value. Here the maximum number of ones was the simple problem that we took. So, fitness value we found and we found it was 34, that is the first step, initialization. Next is selection. Now, how do I select the parents? So, we select the parents using router wheel and the roulette wheel, and where the roulette wheel, the roulette wheel area was decided by the fitness value, okay. And according to that we selected the individuals for crossover, and we selected S1, S2 and S5, S6 as 2 sets of parents that we are going to choose for the crossover operator, and we randomly choose 2 crossover point crossovers 2 and 5, and we created 4 new offspring, okay. So, instead of S1 dash we now have S1 double dash, and the rest of the individuals in the initial population will remain as it is. Like this we created the population, and after we did that we did a mutation again. We randomly choose 0.1, only one bit we are changing out of the 10. So, 0.1, and randomly we selected that probability and we created a new set of individuals and we calculated the fitness. It increased from 34 to 37. So, now this set of individuals is the new generation. From this again we do the whole process, selection, crossover, mutation, and we get a new generation. We keep doing this till we reach a fitness value that we are satisfied with, okay, or till the number of generations, say 5 or 10 or whatever. So, that is the idea of the example. Now, let us look at some of the benefits of genetic algorithms. It handles huge search spaces, it balances exploration and exploitation. It is easy to try because you do not have to have any knowledge, you just take randomly some sort of solutions and you start off, and easy to combine with other methods, which we again and again said, provides many alternative solutions. Okay. It is not that you get only one solution, at the end of the iterations you may get a set of individuals that are possible solutions, and can continually evolve solution to fit a continually changing problem. This is important as we go along. And now we will go into another small aspect that we have not discussed, which is genetic programming. So, in genetic programming what we do, in some programming, before we talk about genetic programming, we are going to talk about something which we have discussed in data structures and all that. It is in some programming languages such as Lisp, the mathematical notation is written in prefix notation. Some examples are, for example, 2 plus 1 is written as plus 2 1, and 2 plus 2 plus 1 is written as in the 2 into 2 plus 1 is written in this way. So, this is called the prefix notation or the reverse Polish notation. So, the order is different, the order in which the operators and operands come are different, and there is no parenthesis because the precedence of the operators and the brackets are already considered. So, it is a lot easier for programmers and compilers alike because order precedence is already taken care of and it is not an issue at all. So, you can see how expression evaluation has become a lot easier. Now, why are we suddenly talking about this? Okay. So, in genetic programming, that is an expression tree. What has this to do with genetic algorithm? If for example, you have mathematical data and answers, but no expression to co-join the data with the answers, genetic algorithm can be used to evolve an expression tree to create very close fit to the data. Okay. So, by splicing and grafting the trees and evaluating the resulting expression with the data and testing it for the answers, the fitness function can return how close the expression is to what we want. So, he has adapted this expression tree evaluation to fit into genetic algorithm scenario, and that is what is called as genetic programming. So, the limitation of genetic programming lie in the huge search space the GAs have to handle. An infinite number of equations will be formed, and normally before running a GA to search for an equation, the user tells a program which operations and numerical ranges are acceptable to search for, and the uses of genetic programming are in stock market prediction, advanced mathematics and military application. It is a more complex method and it uses tree encoding as we have already seen. So, in this module we have discussed the operators of genetic algorithms like crossover, mutation and selection, and we have discussed the fitness function and the termination condition, and we have also discussed genetic programming. We have discussed all these operators also and used a illustrative example to explain the concepts. So,